Imagine for a second that the story you were told is incomplete. They didn't give you the full map. And what if among the words of Jesus there were hidden messages, subtle codes, truths that weren't lost by accident, but were ignored, misunderstood, or conveniently buried over the centuries? And what if the real message of Jesus wasn't just about believing, but about remembering? About accessing a deeper knowledge, a wisdom capable of revealing the secrets of the universe and of humanity. Today we're going to enter that uncomfortable territory, into the hidden teachings of Jesus, the ones that appear in apocryphal gospels, Gnostic texts, and ancient mystical traditions. And here comes the unsettling part. When these ideas are truly understood, the way you look at reality is never the same again. And stay until the end, because that's where the deepest lesson of all lies. A truth capable of shaking your life, even if you think you've already heard it all. From the very beginning, Jesus has been presented as the ultimate symbol of love, compassion, and sacrifice. But beneath his words, there is something greater. A knowledge that doesn't quite fit into traditional doctrine. A message that goes beyond obeying rules and repeating dogmas. In many spiritual traditions, Jesus is not just a moral teacher. He is an initiate, an enlightened one, someone who understood the great mysteries of being and of the cosmos. That's why his teachings have been studied for centuries by mystics, philosophers, and seekers who were not satisfied with simple answers. But to understand this hidden side, first you have to ask yourself an uncomfortable question. Why were some texts about Jesus excluded from the official Bible? In the early centuries of Christianity, many writings circulated among its followers. Texts that spoke about self-knowledge, inner freedom, and awakening of consciousness. Ideas that, coincidentally, did not fit very well with the power structures that were emerging. So, over time, it was decided what was true and what had to disappear. Nothing personal, just spiritual politics. One of the most impactful texts that survived that filter is the Gospel of Thomas. A set of phrases attributed to Jesus that don't sound like institutional religion, but rather something much more direct. Here, Jesus doesn't ask you to believe, he asks you to look within. There's one phrase in particular that makes it clear without any sugarcoating. If you bring out what is inside you will save you. If you do not bring out what is inside you will destroy you. It's not a pretty metaphor, it's a warning. Jesus is saying that inside you there is something sacred, a spark, a dormant knowledge that if you discover it and cultivate it, will set you free. But if you ignore it, if you live only by what is external, from fear, inherited beliefs, and the validation of others, that disconnection turns into suffering. And this is not exclusive to esoteric Christianity. In the Hermetic tradition, the same idea is repeated. As above, so below, as within, so without. The message is clear. The truth is not outside looking for you, it's inside, waiting for you to remember it. That's why Jesus insisted on something that many overlooked. The kingdom of God is not a distant place you access after you die. It's an experience available here and now for anyone who dares to seek with honesty. Another key point of these hidden teachings is the destruction of the ego. Jesus spoke in parables, yes, but many of them had a very specific purpose. To break the illusion of superficial identity. In the Gospel of Luke, there is a phrase that is often interpreted literally, but it is not. Whoever wants to save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for me will find it. He is not talking about dying physically. He is talking about letting go of the false identity, the labels, the possessions, the idea of who you think you are. Jesus points out that only when you let go of that character can you access your true self. He calls that deep awareness the Christ consciousness, divine essence, or whatever you want to call it, which does not belong to the ego but to something much greater. The Gnostics understood it this way from the beginning. For them, salvation did not come from blind belief, but from knowing. Gnosis was the key. They believed that Jesus did not come just to forgive sins, but to awaken in each person the divine spark that connects them to the source. And that changes everything. According to the Gnostic text, Jesus did not teach everything in public. There were things he reserved for his inner circle, not out of elitism, but because it required preparation. Because some knowledge cannot be understood by the ordinary mind, only by a consciousness ready to receive it. And here comes the uncomfortable question. If that knowledge was so powerful, why did it disappear? The answer is simpler than it seems. A human being who truly understands who he is, who accesses his inner knowledge, can no longer be manipulated. He is not driven by fear. He doesn't obey out of inertia. And that has always been a problem for any power structure, whether religious or political. Keeping humanity within clear mental boundaries has been a recurring strategy. And Jesus, with his message of spiritual freedom, broke that pattern. He didn't offer control. He offered awakening. And that made him a threat. So the question isn't what Jesus taught, but how much of it you were allowed to know. Do you really think his message is limited to what they explained to you as a child? Or is there something deeper, to something that was always there, in plain sight, waiting for someone brave enough to seek it? And what comes next makes it even more unsettling. Because when we follow the trail of his teachings, we discover that they didn't come out of nowhere. They are connected to ancient schools of wisdom that existed long before Christianity, from the Essenes to ancient Eastern traditions. Because the truth that Jesus conveyed did not belong to just one people. It was universal. To truly understand the hidden teachings of Jesus, we have to take him out of the spiritual isolation in which he was placed. Jesus did not appear in a vacuum. His message had deep roots in ancient mystical currents, the Essenes, Egyptian knowledge, and Eastern wisdom. The Essenes were a community of mystics who lived in seclusion near the Dead Sea. They practiced inner purity, meditation, and self-knowledge. And it's no coincidence that John the Baptist, who prepared the way for Jesus, was closely connected to them. The Essenes believed that enlightenment did not come from outside, but from direct contact with the inner divinity. Exactly the same thing that Jesus would later express with a phrase that many overlooked. The kingdom of God is within you. But the influence doesn't end there. Some scholars argue that during the lost years of his youth, Jesus may have traveled outside the Middle East. In India, there are ancient manuscripts that speak of a teacher named Isa. Many believe that they refer to Jesus. According to these texts, Isa lived with Buddhist monks, learning about compassion, meditation, and the illusory nature of the material world. And suddenly, everything starts to make sense. Because Jesus didn't just talk about love and faith, he talked about detachment, about not clinging to material things, about awakening inner consciousness. Ideas surprisingly similar to the teachings of Buddha, who centuries earlier already spoke of the ego as an illusion and of suffering as something that can be transcended through enlightenment. And there's more. In ancient Egypt, the Hermetic tradition taught that everything in the universe is mind. That external reality is a direct reflection of internal consciousness. Jesus expressed that same law in other words when he said, "Whatever you ask for in prayer, if you believe, you will receive. It is not blind faith, it is understanding." The idea that mind and spirit actively participate in the creation of reality. And here we come to a key point, a teaching that many read but few understand. Jesus spoke in parables for a reason, not to confuse but to filter. Because within those simple stories, deep truths were hidden that could only be seen by those who were ready. That's why he said it clearly. Not everyone has eyes to see nor ears to hear. Let's take one of his most well-known parables, the parable of the sower. Jesus talks about a man who throws seeds. Some fall on fertile ground and bear fruit, others fall on hard, rocky soil and die right there. Read quickly, it seems like a simple story about faith. But if you look a little deeper, the message changes completely. The seeds are not just words, nor are they knowledge. And the soil is not the outside world, it's your mind. If your mind is closed, full of noise, fear, or prejudice, no truth can take root. But when you truly open up, when you're willing to question yourself, that knowledge takes root and transforms you from within. The same thing happens with another well-known phrase that's often repeated but not understood. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and it will be open to you. It's not a magic formula for asking heaven for things. It's a code, a clear instruction. Truth doesn't appear on its own, isn't inherited, and isn't given as a gift. It must be sought. Jesus is saying that knowledge requires movement, intention, a real hunger for understanding. Nothing passive, nothing automatic. And still, not everyone was ready. That's why, in the Gospel of Matthew, there's a phrase that makes many people uncomfortable. Do not give what is holy to the dogs, nor throw your pearls before swine, lest they trample them underfoot and then turn and attack you. This is not contempt, it's a warning. Deep knowledge cannot be forced. When it is offered to someone who is not ready, it does not enlighten. It provokes rejection, mockery, or violence. Here we come to a key point. Throughout history, great spiritual teachers have been persecuted, misunderstood, or silenced. Jesus was no exception. His message was dangerous because it shifted power. He didn't place it in temples, hierarchies, or institutions. He returned it to the individual. Jesus didn't come to found another religion. He came to awaken humanity to its true nature. And when a message like that appears, the structures tremble. That's why it's no coincidence that he was condemned by both religious and political authorities. He wasn't just a troublesome preacher. He was someone who was revealing knowledge capable of freeing people from fear and manipulation. Think about it for a moment. How many times has the truth been suppressed throughout history? How many texts have disappeared? How many voices were silenced? And still the truth always finds a way through. Jesus insisted on the same thing over and over again. Awakening doesn't come from outside. It doesn't come from obeying dogmas or repeating imposed traditions. It comes from seeking on your own. If we pay close attention to his words, an even deeper teaching appears, one that has been distorted for centuries. Jesus wasn't just talking about love or faith. He was talking about the hidden power within every human being. His mission was not only to save, but to show the path to enlightenment. But before getting there, we need to understand something fundamental. Jesus spoke in parables. He used symbols, metaphors that many did not understand. In the Gospel of Mark, his disciples ask him why he taught that way, and his answer is revealing. To you it has been given to know the mystery of the kingdom of God. To those outside, everything comes in parables. Why not explain everything directly? Because the truth is not imposed, it is discovered. Those who are not ready reject it, ridicule it, or distort it until it becomes harmless. But those who have an open mind and heart see it clearly. And here we come to the most powerful teaching of all. Jesus said, "Know the truth, and the truth will set you free." He wasn't just talking about following a set of teachings. He was talking about a deeper truth, one that frees you from fear, suffering, and the illusion of the material world. And to understand it, you have to look at another one of his most explosive phrases. You are God's. Recorded in the Gospel of John, and also one of the most misunderstood in the entire Bible. Jesus was not saying that human beings should worship themselves. He was not talking about inflated ego or superiority. He was talking about something much deeper. Within each person there is a divine spark, a direct connection to the source of all that is. And this is not an idea exclusive to Christianity. It appears again and again in the great spiritual traditions. In the Vedanta philosophy of India, it is taught that Atman, the individual soul, and Brahman, the supreme reality, are essentially the same. In Hermetic wisdom, it is stated that God is mind, and that the universe is mental. Different languages, same conclusion. Divinity is not separate from us. It dwells within us. However, if you feel like you don't have time to read, that your mind is racing, and yet you know you need something to shake you up inside, here's the way in. Audible gives you 30 days free to listen to books that keep you company while you walk, drive, or wonder what the heck you're doing with your life. It's not just more content. It's effortless mental nourishment. Today the link is in the description. Jump in with no strings attached, like the best decisions you end up being grateful for. Jesus left an even clearer clue in one of his most enigmatic phrases. The kingdom of God will not come with warnings. They will not say, it is here or it is there, because the kingdom of God is within you. For centuries, it has been taught that the kingdom of God is a place you reach after you die. But Jesus said just the opposite. It is not a future destination, it is a state of consciousness, accessible here and now. And this idea was explosive because if people understood that divinity does not live in temples, does not depend on institutions, and does not need intermediaries, then they would no longer be controllable. But there is an even deeper teaching. In the Gospel of Thomas, when Jesus says, when you make the two one, when you make the inner like the outer, and the outer like the inner, then you will enter the kingdom. This is not spiritual poetry, it's a key. Jesus is talking about the unification of opposites, about integrating body and spirit, matter and divinity, consciousness and the unconscious. Exactly the same thing that the medieval alchemists taught, who were not just trying to turn lead into gold, but to transform the human being from within. In the Kabbalah, they talk about tikkun, restoring the balance of the soul. In Taoism, about the balance between yin and yang as a path toward harmony. It all points to the same thing. Spiritual awakening happens when what is fragmented becomes integrated. Then an inevitable question arises. If Jesus had such profound knowledge, why was he condemned? The answer is clear. His message challenged the established order, took power out of the hands of a few, and gave it back to everyone. Jesus taught that the divine does not belong to an elite, that it is not the property of institutions, that it lives in every human being. And any knowledge that frees people from fear and manipulation becomes, sooner or later, a threat to those who wish to control. But here is what truly matters. Jesus didn't leave these teachings just for his disciples of that time. He left them for everyone who at some point would be ready to understand them. His message doesn't expire. It's still alive. It still resonates. And now I ask you something. With complete honesty, what would change in your life if you truly understood these teachings? What would happen if you knew without any doubt that the key is within you? The door to the kingdom, the direct connection to the source of all creation. In the last part of this journey, we are going to reveal the final secret, the most transcendental teaching of Jesus, the most misrepresented, the most hidden. And when you understand it, nothing ever looks the same again. If you've made it this far, get ready. Because what comes next is the ultimate revelation. Now we've truly reached the climax of the journey. Most people left a while ago, but you didn't. And that says a lot right below. I'm ready to get uncomfortable. Not to look good, but because you know that after this part, there are no more excuses. We have seen how Jesus spoke about the awakening of consciousness, about the inner divinity, and about the kingdom of God as a living reality within every human being. But there is one last teaching, the most powerful of all, one that was veiled, distorted, and hidden for centuries, so that very few could truly understand it. Before revealing it, let us remember one of the most enigmatic phrases that Jesus ever spoke. Whoever wants to save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Read superficially, it seems like an invitation to sacrifice. But it doesn't talk about dying physically. It talks about something much more radical, the death of the ego. Jesus was referring to transcending the limited identity, letting go of the persona, leaving behind the self built by fear, attachment, and the illusion of separation. Well, this is the core of all profound spiritual teachings. The death of the false self and the rebirth into one's true essence. It's the same principle that Buddhism teaches when it says that enlightenment only comes by dissolving the ego. The same one that appears in spiritual alchemy, where death symbolizes the internal transformation of the human being. Even the crucifixion of Jesus takes on a new meaning here, not only as a historical event, but as a universal symbol. The cross represents the dissolution of the illusory self, letting go of attachment to the material. The resurrection symbolizes the awakening of consciousness, the entry into unity with the divine. But the most striking thing is this. Jesus not only taught this process with words, he left clear clues for those who were ready to understand them. In the Gospel of Thomas, there is a phrase that sums it all up. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. Here is the final secret. Awakening is not outside. It is not in dogmas. It is not in external saviors. It is not in waiting for a future paradise. It is within you. It's about discovering the hidden treasure, about awakening that divine spark that has remained dormant for so long. And why was this teaching hidden? Because it contains a truth that is dangerous for any system of control. Every human being can connect with the divine without intermediaries. Jesus did not come to found a religion. He came to show a path of liberation. And now the question is direct, without beating around the bush. Are you ready to wake up? Knowing this intellectually doesn't change anything. Knowing that the kingdom of God is within you doesn't transform your life until you take the next step. True knowledge is not information, it's transformation. Jesus didn't just talk about the truth. He lived it, he embodied it, and that's the invitation he leaves us with. Not just to listen, not just to believe, but to experience. If you really want to start, look inside. Ask yourself honestly, what part of my life is still based on fear and not on love? What beliefs are still limiting me? Am I living from my essence or from an identity fabricated by the outside world? And remember this final phrase, which many overlook. You will do even greater things than these. Jesus didn't come to show what he could do. He came to show what we are capable of when we awaken to our true nature. The final secret is this: the kingdom of God is not a place you go to after you die. It's a state of consciousness you can access now. There are no real barriers between you and the divine, only the ones you have built yourself. And when you stop searching outside, when you turn inward, then, and only then, does the truth that truly sets you free appear. If something inside you has stirred upon hearing these words, it's not a coincidence. Maybe that's why you made it this far. Maybe this was the sign you were waiting for. Tell me in the comments which part of this message resonated with you the most. And if you want us to keep exploring this hidden knowledge, let me know, because this is not the end. It's just the beginning.